If you want an example of what a worst case scenario would look like for Britain under Brexit, look at Russia. And the reason I say look at Russia is because, 2 years ago, the United States and all of its vassal European lackey followers that do whatever Washington says they're supposed to do imposed really draconian sanctions on Russia. It was a form of economic warfare. They basically shut down massive amounts of trade between Russia and the EU. Okay, I mean they stopped all kind of financial transactions. They blocked the SWIFT system, so Russia couldn't send wire transfers and bank transfers between banks. I mean, it was really a form of economic warfare. The Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor in 1941 because the United States declared an oil embargo against Japan. But right now, what the United States did with its European vassals was 1,000 times worse to Russia. And what happened to Russia? Not much. I mean, it had a small contraction in its economy. The ruble went down, but the ruble went down only after the Russian central bank started raising rates. And you know now that it's been cutting rates and the ruble's going back up, just as I have said. So, in a worst case scenario, and by the way, we're not talking about, I hear people saying, oh, Europe, Britain's the fifth largest economy in the world, and now it's going to grind to a halt. What grind to a halt? I mean, let's just say that trade entirely was closed off between Britain and the UK, which is not going to happen, okay? Then you got a situation like Russia. And Britain starts to engage in import substitution, making things domestically, getting things from elsewhere. And we're not talking about draconian measures like that. I mean, the United States, Washington, and really tried. That was an economic warfare against Russia. The intent was to destroy the Russian economy. I mean, that is the same thing as military warfare when you cut off supply lines and things of that nature. It's amazing that we have stayed out of World War III, and it's only as a result of Russia's handling of the situation, not sort of attacking back, which they had every right to do because it was an economic attack that was designed to destroy the economy of a nation. I'll tell you this: if the United States had that hurled at it, where the intent was to destroy completely the economy of the United States of America, we would be at war, military war. But anyway, that's what happens when you have a complete shutdown. Now, obviously, Britain is not Russia with its vast resources, but it does have North Sea oil. It is the fifth largest economy in the world. And we are not talking about a total shutdown in trade. I hear people saying this stupid stuff. We're going to shut the fifth largest economy, going to grind to a halt. What is it? What is that? That's, again, this kind of hyperbolic metaphor, grind to a halt. I mean, you think of like one of these old steam locomotives that just is chugging along with no oil, and it just kind of, that seizes up. Stupid. So, and anyway, so what happened? So Russia maybe had a contract. By the way, it's back to growth, or it's just about back to growth now. And not, Russia also had to endure over that period of time a 70% collapse in oil prices. Don't forget. And it could have, by the way, it could have completely avoided that little whatever 0.8% contraction in its economy by implementing the right fiscal policy measures, which they didn't do. I mean, the Russian central bank was raising rates like crazy, and they were trying to balance the budget, and Putin was buying gold, which was ridiculous. He could have been spending, on health care and improving infrastructure and developing domestic industries and all kinds of things like that. What are you buying gold for? It's ridiculous. What, to support your friends in the gold mining industry? So if you want to know the worst case scenario that's going to happen to Britain, you look at Russia, which was under economic attack, basically had trade completely shut off between Europe and itself, and not a whole lot happened, okay? And the ruble's going back up right now. So calm down, everybody.